Are you sharing some chat of the meeting? Just resend. Remember, it's a big file. It will take some time to get uploaded. Yeah, got it.
Here's two guys that we know extremely well, Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam. That's a shot we've seen him play many times, and he's away with the six first up. That is beautifully hit. That's beautifully bowled. Oh my goodness, what a blinder that is! That is absolutely sensational. Magnificent catch, full length to his right. Advancing. There's a man down there. Is he going to take this catch? He is going to take it. Wow, that is huge.
Murder spinner. There he goes. First ball, six. What a start.
Could be out. It's out. Another one, Taylor.
Just a little short in length from Ali.
Attack. Maybe it's just needed at this stage. Innovative. And back-to-back sixes it'll be.
Babar Azam is the man who's going to want to get going a bit. So he goes downtown that time and picks up. I'll remember him. That's a fine shot. Nice and straight. Full class. Has it gone far enough? Oh, through the hands. Fired that one, and it's out. It's another fine catch.
To be honest, he decided to go a little bit finer.
Oh, that's a big shot. First up, he's gone.
Straight away into the attack. Jesse Singh wants another. The umpire says yes. Full toss put away. Good start by Nick Trafalgar. He has been on target today. Juicy. And he's enjoyed that. It does go full. But shy and sharp really goes long. That is a massive six. And just what's required.
You're going to have to strike early, that's for sure. So you get ready. Got that away in the air, and that's four. and that's nicely played for 4.
Near wicket does Pakistan, and it finally comes in the form of Nasim Shah. Well, he's just toying with the fielders at the moment. He went square, now he goes straighter, and he gets 4. Goes straight.
Rise of catches, nowhere near it, 4 runs. It's nicely played, Bull might win this. Wow, what a shot that is. That's gone for 6. That is outstanding work from the skipper. That is a magnificent stroke.
And that brings up his 52. They got the wicket. Important breakthrough for Pakistan.
I think that's taken. Very good performance by Mohammad Rizwan. Getting the fingers underneath that one.
It's a shot that brought him runs against Canada. It brings him runs again today. Runs. He wants runs, he needs a boundary. There's been so few of late, and it changes again. Here we go. Go straight. We're going to have a super over. The scores are level. Both teams scoring 159, so we will have a super over to decide this. He was given width. There'll be runs straight away. To get in that block hole again. Might as well go for the second. Go for the second. Get run out, it's okay. It's the last ball. Looking for the boundary. Muscling it. Going straight. Brilliant effort from Milan Kumar. The red, white and blue of USA has overcome the 2022 finalists. The stars and stripes are flying high and proudly in Dallas, Texas.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all for 2024 Annual General Meeting of USA Cricket. I would like to extend a warm greeting to all our members, stakeholders, volunteers, guests who are both here in person and joining us virtually online. Today we gather here to reflect on our success, celebrate our progress, discuss our future of the game in USA. With this, I now hand over the proceedings to the chairman, Mr. Venu Pisaki. So let me quickly run through the agenda. So the chairman will give his note, followed by the CEO report with the entire year's of progress and what the future is looking like, and financial overview for the year 2024 as of date. Then we will have the development committee presentation, presenting what have their accomplishments to date and also what's the plan for 2025. Followed by Women's and Girls Committee, Nadia Ganesh will be joining online and presenting her report and we have plans for the next year. Then by Srini Salver, Men's Cricket Committee Chair, will be presenting the senior men's plans. And we have David Hobart joining online again from California to present what we have done and accomplish and what we are planning to improve the infrastructure in collaboration with the local and federal governments. Then we have few of the volunteers who have been supporting the activities throughout the year. So we would like to express our gratitude and recognize them here. And we have Q&A. So the Q&A is in two parts. One, we have audience questions, posing questions to the members here, and we also have questions which we have curated from online submissions. So we have two questions which will be displayed, and the respective members and the management will be addressed. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again. Welcome again. For the first time, we are hosting our AGM in front of our members. Thanks for joining, community from Atlanta. And Parag Arsi from ICC America. Thanks for joining us. And our own Captain America, Manam Patel. Thanks for joining us as well. And welcome you all for the 2024 general meeting, annual general meeting. It's an outstanding year for us in terms of our progress, high performance, success in the international cricket. The year started with our under-19 boys participating in the World Cup after many years, and continued by our bilateral success prior to the World Cup, and the World Cup success. You all know our team was successfully reached the Super 8 and then automatically qualified for the 2026 Men's World Cup. And that success, that performance continued throughout the year, and we ended up on top of the CWC League table in the association members. And on the women's side, we made good progress as well, and we started the year with our pathways and adding for the first time a under-15 girls tournament, which is addition to the already having senior women and under-19 women national tournaments. And towards the end of the year, our women's team toured Zimbabwe, and successfully we won the first ODI in Zimbabwe, that was against a full member, and also we ended the series with 2-3. Even though the series was not in our favor, but we made good success by winning 2 ODIs, and the great success of a youngster creating a world record on our debut. That's a success story from our women's team. And in terms of development, we have improved our development pathways and increased the number of tournaments, events, games. As per the feedback we received from last year, the domestic pathways ran throughout the year, creating more interest, more competition for all the youth. And we have partnered with ICC Americas during the World Cup in creating learning opportunities for both coaches, umpires, and the future leaders. And also we continued that in the last quarter, adding more workshops throughout the country in increasing the coaching and umpiring certification programs. And we'll continue that through the end of the year. We still have a few more plans for the rest of the month, and we'll continue that for the next year as well. And in terms of governance, I know we have some challenges. We had some challenges. I know the challenges are not new for USA Cricket, but we have overcome some of them, or most of them, by working together and putting our efforts to become compliant in terms of ICC. You all know that we are on notice from ICC, our parent body, but we have made significant progress in meeting most of the compliances, and we are actively working with ICC in fulfilling our obligations to become fully compliant. And on the USOPC, you all know the cricket's inclusion into LA 28 Olympics has created an opportunity for us to become an NGP, and we have started the process last year, and we are continuing that, and this year we have made significant progress in terms of creating several policies and adopting them into our bylaws, making constitutional changes early this year, and also currently working for the next phase of constitutional amendments, which can fully adopt USOPC guidelines and regulations. And part of that process, we are also bringing changes to our governance and the board composition, based on the USOPC guidelines, we need to have 33% of player representation on the board. So currently we have only 20% representation. So that will be increased to 33%. That means we will be adding 2 more player director positions on the board. And very soon we will be establishing our ASC, Athlete Advisory Council. And then we'll be also conducting the player director elections and to increase their participation on the USA cricket level. That is a major step in terms of the USOPC application process, and we will be continuing to work with USOPC in filing our application and going through the whole process throughout the year. And other director selections. So one of the independent directors' term ends end of this year, and we have started the reappointment process, and currently the application is pending with NGC, who are actually working with confirming the eligibility, validating the eligibility and confirming it very soon, and we are hopeful that we will complete the process by end of the year. And as mentioned, we are also working on the second set of constitutional amendments to adopt more USOPC regulations and also streamline, address any gaps, inconsistencies on in the constitution related to some of the other areas. And we have also developed a lot of partnerships with other associate and full members in 2024. So historically, we have isolated ourselves from the partnerships or relation with other members because of our own internal challenges and the requirements. We could not focus on the developing a relation with other members, but this year has changed that, starting with re-establishing our relation with our neighbor Canada. We have conducted a bilateral early this year, and then we have partnered with Bangladesh, inviting them to host a full series of full member in the USA. And then we have continued our relation with the Cricket West Indies by sending our under-19 teams. They have hosted our under-19 girls early this year, and we are working with Cricket West Indies in building the partnership relation, and by supporting each other, and also Cricket West Indies has graciously accepted to host our teams in their country in their domestic tournaments. So we'll be sending our under-19 boys in June of next year into Cricket West Indies domestic tournament. And we have also signed a partnership agreement with Cricket South Africa and for exchange and support program. And we are sending our under-19 boys and girls in January to prepare our under-19 girls for the under-19 World Cup and our under-19 boys towards the World Cup qualifier coming up in the summer. And we have also increased our relation with America's other members, and part of that we are actually working, preparing plans for the first ever North America T20I Cup. So more details will be announced mostly early next year, but we have increased this relation building with other members, and we're fortunate to have support from across the world, because right now USA cricket is being the focus for many of the cricketing nations across the world, and our success is a success for cricketing in the world. So we had an outstanding year, and we will continue the momentum, and we'll make sure to continue our programs, increase our programs, increasing the participation and the performance at the international stage, and make sure to support our national teams in the ICC and other world events in increasing our ranking and performance. And we are committed to support the growth of cricket in this country, and we are committed to make cricket in America great again. Now, I pass on to our CEO for the next item on the agenda. Thank you.
Hey, speak louder. Yep. Apologies, just a moment. There we go. I can speak this way for the online, so they can hear it. I'm more than happy just to speak louder in the room. I think the sound is a little bit better now. Apologies, thank you. First, thank you so much. Before I get started into our review for 2024 and our discussions in 25, as you all know, I am new on the job. I joined the team here with USA Cricket in August of this year. The board has put their faith in me to come on board here and do all of the things that Vinu has just outlined, to try and bring my experience from outside cricket in the national governing body of the sports world into your sports. But let me say thank you, one, for the faith that they put in me to be able to do that, but also thank you for the reception that I've had, in the community. Everywhere that we've gone, that Vinu stays take. I'm amazed by, one, how warm we have been received, how excited people are about the opportunity in front of us, and how much passion there is for this. I know from every sport, it's difficult. Sports in America are hard, especially at the grassroots level. Everything that gets achieved through Herculean efforts from local volunteers. It only happens because somebody is willing to sacrifice their time, their money, their life, their time with their family to go out and achieve these things. And I can tell you've laid an amazing foundation from which we now get to build. So first, I want to say thank you for that, for the work that you've done, the work you've done, that everyone in this community has done so far. I'm excited to be working on that. And let's talk a little bit more about where we are. From that, I would say one of the things in my interview process that was really enjoyable, one of the questions that the board asked me was, how do we meet the objective of being a full member by 2030? And I thought, boy, that's a big question coming in, and a big ask from what is a relatively small organization. But what I'm pleased to say is I've spent a lot of time speaking with people around the world about cricket in the United States, as well as the Olympics. From a governance standpoint, from franchise leagues, from the other cricket boards, everyone believes that is possible. That the United States is the next major growth market for cricket in the world, and truly, that we're starting to see what we've all known as the potential turn into reality. As Vinu highlighted very actively, the T20 World Cup this summer, the immense amount of pride that was shown by our community for that, the immense amount of interest that was driven back around the globe for cricket in the United States, the fact that they filled the stadiums. Don't get me wrong, that's very helpful. But it was an amazing event and a validation of the fact that cricket can and will thrive in America. Our challenge is to turn that opportunity to a reality in the next few years. As Vinu laid out, we have significant challenges that none of you would be surprised to understand. We are a small organization. We do have limited resources. We are stretched thin in terms of the number of things that we have to do between national teams, getting them on the field, domestic operations, having a staff, the ability to be able to run things. And frankly, America's a big place, so it's very difficult to be everywhere at once. The challenge for us is to turn all of that passion and all of our experience into something that's a cohesive and aligned plan, where all of us are working towards the same goal. And I'll steal a line we were joined earlier in our board meetings by a representative from the Olympic Committee, the U.S. Olympic Committee, David Patterson. I told him I was going to steal this from him. But he said, if you want to win the podium in LA 2020, which is one of our next targets, you have to have podium-level behaviors in everything that you do. And for all of us, we can understand it from a sporting context, that if you want success on the field, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens through repeatedly doing the right things over and over and over again, so that when you get on the big stage, it's easy. And that's the same thing that we need to do organizationally. So as we go through what our objectives are into 2025, that is the mantra internally for me. Nail the basics repeatedly. Podium level behavior. And in reality, let's set the stage for greatness in 2025. Because if we look where we are right now, we have the 2026 Men's World Cup, obviously T20, with Manat and the team being prepared to go. As Vinu said, we have two U19 teams that are going out, one that will be on the field in January, competing for the World Cup. We have a women's squad that needs to be prepared to get into the T20 World Cup as well. We have a lofty ambition with the targets of LA 2020. We will never have a better opportunity to expose American cricket than we will through the Olympics. There's no other opportunity that brings eyeballs like that. So, as we head into 25, 2040, what's that come on? I think our organizational focus internally, and I'll speak to the entire year with an acknowledgement that I've only come in for part of that. But there was an amazing amount of work done to achieve what happened this year. We've had amazing group of volunteers working on our domestic development. They'll highlight, and I'm not going to steal everybody's thunder and talk about what they were doing. Some great operations work that was done to pull off these events in the World Cup. The organization was focused on maintaining financial stability, so driving more revenue through the door, which we'll talk about when we get to the finance components. And then once we come onto the back end of the year, building out a new strategy of how we're going to go into the next 4 years, but also into this upcoming year. But what I can say is that the eyes of the cricket world are upon America. So it's incumbent on us to live that. So as we look into 2025, Thank you. So there were 4 major things that we're focused on as we look at, my operational plan for the staff and what we're trying to achieve with USA Cricket, the business component of that. And that's what I'll speak to today. Sorry, technical difficulties. There we go. One is the organizational foundation. So actually, how do we run the internal business? We need to be forecasting our budget tighter. We need to make sure that we have fiscal stability throughout the year and sustainability. We need to focus on driving more revenue. And we need to focus on, even though this is sports, acting like the businesses that you all run in your own lives. You know exactly how you would run that. You're going to set OKRs and KPIs. We're going to track our staff against that. And we'll track ourselves against what we're trying to achieve for the year and across a quadrennial cycle. One of the things that we discussed with the board is this year we need to update our strategic documents. So our foundational document for the entire organization that will take us forward to 2028 in a quadrennial cycle. So we'll be working on that throughout the year. Internally, the way that we'll reorganize is basically 3 business units. One will be focused on the administration, so the underlying finance, all the boring stuff that I get to take care of every day, business, insurances, the things that nobody wants to think about, but that's how sports happens. Another focus is, of course, our community development. So how do we actually run domestic cricket operations? How do we run more tournaments? How do we certify more coaches? How do we have more umpires? How do we make our membership experience better and attract more leagues into the U.S. cricket environment? And the third side of that is really our high performance unit. So how does HP continue representing what USA Cricket is doing around the world? How do we develop the next group of players? We've been very public about we're in the midst of doing a high performance review. We've brought in international consultants to be able to help us full 360 review that system to build a roadmap for where we move forward. As you would also know, we're currently in the market for a high performance director. I'm pleased to say we've been getting excellent candidates back for that. I'm very excited. We'll move into the next phase of interviews probably next week, as well as our men's head coach position. So we're looking to build out the capacity for those units as well. The other side of what we'll actually focus on here, as we look at these 4 foundational items, we've got this broken out. So every objective and result that we have is built around these 4 things. The different business units will have their objectives set for the year that are all built to feed into this. But what I would say is the goal is at the end of 2025, we know we're not going to be where we want to be. We're not going to be a full member at the end of 2025. That's okay. But we need to be on the road to looking like the organization that we want to be. 2025 will be a year of setting the foundations for success. To get us ready so that in 2026, 2027, 2028, when we start to grow, when there is more interest, when we start to be able to have more events, that the organization itself is built on strong foundations so that we can grow and flourish as we move into the future. And what I can say is I'm incredibly excited to be here. I'm really again, appreciative of the passion that everyone has of all of the work that's gone ahead. I'm excited for you to hear from the different groups that will be involved today, from our finance team, our development team, our women's and girls, our high performance units, to tell you about where they're going for the year 2025. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to be on this journey with you. With that, I will turn things back over to our wonderful master of ceremonies.
Thank you, Jonathan. We have, you want to present the financial review? Pinto, it's all on you to present the financial overview. Drew is going to run the slide, so if you can walk us through everyone. So we are.
We can see, we can hear you, yeah. We can hear you. Yeah, we can. Okay. Hello, everybody. We want everybody as where we are right now for 2025 financials. As you can see on the screen, the revenues are 5.9 million, expenses are 4 million, and our net income currently is 1.9 million. The largest revenue drivers for 2025 are obviously the World Cup, with regards to how well the team performed, which increased our ICC funding that we received year to date. So that's what's driving the $5.9 million revenue, and our expenses are in line with pretty much all of our activities that we've managed this year, from the Bangladesh series that we did earlier, our Canada series that we performed in, as well as our expenses for supporting the T20 World Cup. For the rest of the year, we feel like we will be cash flow positive, and from a balance sheet perspective, we've cleaned up the balance sheet quite a bit, so we'll have very little debt on the balance sheet, as well as we're expecting a little bit of cash on the balance sheet start off for 2025, yeah. These numbers, just to clarify, are all 2024 numbers, and in 2025 we feel like we will, as we look through the budget and start looking through 2025 results, we feel that the numbers will come a little bit lower than this. Is there another slide? Okay. That's it. Perfect. Is there no questions?
Thank you, Pinto. We have no other questions today.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I would like to invite the representative from the development committee to present the year-to-date plans and the future 2025.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Ghulam Saeed, and I'm representing the Domestic Operations Committee for U.S. Cricket. We work in collaboration with our Cricket Committee, our Development Committee, and also work under the Office of the CEO. So, I'd like to, before I start, I'd like to thank you for being part of our 2024 operations. Many, many thanks to you. There's so many volunteers, and our leadership across the country in different regional and zonal level. I cannot thank you enough to be a part of this huge operational season we just concluded. Especially my key appreciation goes to for your constructive feedbacks that I have met with a lot of folks across when I was traveling with different tournaments, and thank you for stepping up and in talking about it and then giving us some constructive feedbacks, and also your feedbacks matters a lot because this is how we excel. This is how we do things better and take things forward. A few people I know, there's a lot of people to thank, but thank you to the hub leads the regional coordinators and the leaders across the country who have stepped up to the plate and helped us to have a successful domestic season this year. Also, my true appreciation goes to the host for different tournaments, and they went above and beyond and put in their effort to make things success. Before I go over our slides, I'd like to recognize the co-members of the Domestic Operations Committee, Mr. Nagesh Mukhamala, who's not here, he's online, and also Mr. Ranjit Singh is sitting here. These are my partners in crime in this whole operations. What are we going to do for 2025? Obviously, having a successful season, and there's a lot happened. Our teams are focused on a few line items. So first of all, we're going to see more games, more competitive games for all age levels. We're going to see a better operational structure because what we have before, and we will take it forward, and then we'll be applying all the learning lessons, all the feedback that we have heard over the months. We are going to give you the dates, and the venues are published ahead of time. It will be available, and we'll go over a high-level roadmap, but you will get to hear about the dates and the venues. You don't have to wait for March, April timeline. This will be available sooner. And then we will be focusing on governance and compliance, because it is absolutely utmost important that the governance that we have, we apply, and then we have a compliance across the board. Bring positive and enhanced inclusive culture, domestic culture within the U.S. cricket. We will enhance it within our operations this year. So what you see in my back in the screen basically talks about a few high-level timelines. We have the three pillars: the domestic handbook and guidelines. We got the operations, regional structures, and registrations. And then finally we have the tournament structure and schedules. Some of the timelines you can see there's some date ranges here. As we mentioned that when we are going to publish 2025 guidelines, we will engage the key leadership across the country, all the foot soldiers, someone just said foot soldiers, the volunteers, your feedback, and we will engage you in different focus sessions, and then we'll get that documentation reviewed and approved by our governance committees. And then will be available to you, if not sooner, by December 31st. Then we're going to move into the regional structure. The domestic hub and regional body structure, we're targeting to get that selected, appointed, and published by January 15th. And then, in the meantime, as early as in a couple of weeks, we will start our players and official registration process. We should not wait. We will start right away. And then this registration is very important for us because the data that we collect during registration are used to schedule and structure all the tournaments. It helps us with the data, with logistics and financials. And then we will pretty much go through the other, you will have that data there. Next slide. So right here, what you see is the age-specific, the domestic pathway timeline. These are also at a high level. And just want to let you know some of the timelines and the plans are subject to change based on the financial feasibility and the budgeting process, and also a final approval from our governance committees. So I wouldn't go through this, the whole list. There's a lot of information in the slides. It will be available to you, but our domestic operations and the tournament structures, the major tournaments, and then all the events leading up to these tournaments are listed here. And you also see at the bottom of the slides a kind of timeline that we will try to follow. So I guess I'll hand it over to Mr. Yes. And I'll take questions later. Yes, and also, this is about 2024, we just talked about, and there's some, the key numbers that I think it will be, interesting to kind of mention. We had, within our Pathway men's events, we had 372 teams and different age categories, including starting from U11 through the seniors. 6,700 plus players have participated in this tournament through the year. That includes starting from the hub through the nationals. 1,300 plus games. Believe it or not, it has been a very busy season. And as our CEO and the chairman has mentioned, we have spent about $2+ million budget just to organize all the tournaments and all the activities in domestic structures. So it is, again, congratulations. Your participation and your collaboration has been the key for this success. Thank you.
Just one other thing, to highlight here was the coaching and umpire workshops, which, as earlier we noted, we were able to, along with the ICC, again, thank you to Farah Gorsi here in the room, who was instrumental in that, and her team with Billy and co to get it up and running, run some of those workshops around the country during the T20 World Cup. During the end of the year, we were also able to get up and run around the CWC League 2 series in Dallas, in Los Angeles, and I believe we have another upcoming event in Minnesota. Is that correct? In Minnesota, just recently completed, to start training more coaches and umpires. That will be a big job for us in 2025. We'll focus on revitalizing that pathway for both sides, because as you know, cricket does not grow without those people. Everyone that comes out for their experience on a Tuesday, Thursday, Monday night, whatever it is, every weekend, their experience with cricket is based on the quality of those coaches. The experience of the players on the field is based on the qualities of the umpires. No pressure on umpires. So we want to make sure that we're doing all we can as USA Cricket to tie into the ICC certifications to help make sure that we're developing those along with the players, in addition to providing additional resources that are not just the how to coach, but the what to coach. Giving people development opportunities to do continued education. So it was a great year for that to get started. We'll look to build on it in 2025.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think now we will be moving on to the Women's and Girls Committee report. Will be online from our board member and also Women's Committee Chair, Nadia Green.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but nevertheless, happy to present to you on behalf of the Women and Girls Committee. All right, Drew, can we move forward to the Women and Girls Committee slide? Okay. All right, so starting off with our success stories, we kicked off the year with a tour to the UAE for the Global T20 World Cup qualifier. Unfortunately, we did not walk away with any wins at that tournament. However, we have moved forward into let's see, we'll move forward into the under 19 qualifier. Drew, I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty tracking the slides. Can you share the women and girls committee slides? Okay, here we are. All right, so here we go. Starting off with our domestic pathway. Again, this year, so we've had 334 players registered for our domestic pathway across 28 states. That is an increase of 6 states compared to last year. Overall, we see a downward registration of numbers by 88. And just to clarify, for those who may have compared to last year's numbers, the reason that we see that there's been 88 fewer registrations, those numbers reported last year were audited and realized that they were in fact raw numbers. So it included invalid data and duplicates. So these are accurate numbers, 334 registrants, which would have been an increase from the actual number of registrants from the previous year. Participation, as just mentioned, with the coaching certification courses. In those courses, we've had more than 3 females participate in the level 1 certification courses. We've had 14 volunteer team coordinators participate across our intra-regional competition, where they have managed each of the intra-regional teams. Here we can see a snapshot of our domestic season across the year, which began in May and ended in August, culminated with the senior and under 19 national championships. For the very first time, we've hosted an under 15 national championship competition with 2 teams, one representing the East and the West. We have begun working to build out the pipeline for our under 19 team and our senior team as well. So if we can just go on to the next slide, Drew. All right, so just a quick snapshot at the under 15 championship. The East team prevailed as the champions. This competition was hosted in Dublin, California. And then next, for the under 19 champions, the green team prevailed as the champions. And so also for the very first time, we increased the number of participating teams from 2 to 3. And instead of going for the regional or geographical breakup of teams, we decided to mix the players in order to have competitive teams across all of the games in the tournament. At the senior level, the West once again have been champions at the senior competition level, and again thanks to the Grand Prairie Stadium for hosting both the under 19s and the senior national tournament. Okay, I see we're looking at the 2025 proposed plans. Did we skip a slide? No, it is the ICC update. Okay, if we can just go back to the individual performance highlight, because this definitely deserves the recognition. Yes, so one of our highlight performances for this year among the women is the performance of Chetna Reddy Pagliala, who at just 16 years old debuted for the USA in ODIs in the recent tour to Zimbabwe. On the 5th and final game of that series, Chetna on debut made 136 runs, not out of 152 balls. And that is indeed a standout performance, a record-breaking performance not only for the USA, where she's become the first female player in the USA to score a century in any format of the game. Scored the highest on women's ODI debut for any team across the world. So USA Cricket once again congratulates Chetna for her outstanding performance, and we commemorated her with a plaque as well as a framed photo of herself in Zimbabwe. Okay, thank you, Drew.
Thank you, Nadia. So now
Now,
we
if we can just go back to the 2025 proposed plans, please. Thank you. All right, and so looking forward to 2025, for our senior national team, as everyone knows, we now have head coach Hilton Moran on board as a full-time head coach for our women's and under-19 national teams. Our high-level plans for next year is that we're going to have 4 camps across the year, and we're also planning for 4 different tours or tournaments against higher-ranked teams. And we're targeting at least 20 T20 internationals across the year. In March, there will be the Americas qualifier, where we should play if the tournament follows the format of 2023. There should be 6 T20Is, and we're also planning to establish a USA A or emerging team to play some international competition as well later on in the year. For our youth national teams, we've got the under-19 national team. They've got big events in front of them in January, the under-19 World Cup. Prior to the World Cup, they would be heading over to South Africa to play against the South Africa under-19 national team in 3 T20Is as part of their warm-up for the under-19 World Cup. Right? Thank you.
now Srini Salvar, our men's cricket committee chair and also main player representative director on the board, will be walking us through the accomplishments for the year 2024 and also the plans for 2025.
Thanks, Ansh. Hello, everyone. Here you go. All right. Thanks, Anj. Thanks, everyone, for attending this very important meeting. From men's cricket point of view, easily the best year for USA cricket. We have accomplished a lot of things, and that's brought global recognition for our national team. And I want to congratulate our captain who's here. Yeah, very good year. To that, we had a lot of events as well. We started our year with our men's U19 participating in the World Cup. Couldn't win games, but part of that, we were able to identify a lot of young talent. In fact, one of those talents is part of our senior national team line, and also we included a few other players in our national training group for seniors. So very good outcome from the World Cup. Then we did our men's T20 nationals to identify talent for pathway to the World Cup. So it was one of the main events which we conducted in March. And following that, we had a couple of international series, one against Canada, where we beat Canada 4-0. Then we had a very big series against Bangladesh, where we beat Bangladesh 2-1. Then after that, as we all know, the World Cup journey, it was amazing. We beat Canada amazing knock by Aaron Jones in that innings, and then beating Pakistan. Which helped us move to the next stage, to Super 8. Super 8 was challenging, but again, there was a lot of very, very good individual performances, especially by Andreas Gauss in the game against South Africa. And also, by us making it to Super 8, we automatically qualified for the 2026 World Cup, which again is a very big achievement for UCL. After the World Cup success, we shifted our focus to CWC League 2, which is the most important event for men's team. So we started our journey touring Netherlands. We had a 50-50 results there. Then we went to Namibia, where we clean swept the ODI series and won 3 out of 4 T20Is. Then we came back to Dallas for our home leg of CWC, where first we played 3 T20s against Nepal. Unfortunately, we lost all 3. And before the CWC started, for the first time, we have a field at a USA A team with most of our youngsters who came up through the ranks. Most of those players were part of our U19 teams previously, and what they have achieved is amazing. As you all know, that team beat Nepal, a fully packed Nepal team, and Scotland, and it was amazing. Sorry. It was an amazing outcome, and again in that series too, there were some very, very good performances by our bowlers. Aaron in the first game, along with Ayan. Then in the second game, knocked by Sanjay Krishnamurthy, probably one of the best knocks we have seen for USA cricket. And after that, we played our CWC series against Scotland and Nepal. We lost 2 and won 2 games. And that concluded our CWC series for this year. And I think after that, there was few other CWC series, and conclusion of which our national team ended up being on top of the table of CWC League 2. And again, once again, congratulations to our team. And we also hosted our men's 50-over nationals in November in LA. Pretty good outcome again, following which our selectors have identified a national training group which will be focused for future events. After that, the next year we have a very, very big year for our U19s next year. We have our regional qualifiers in July, for which we already started our preparations. We have identified our men's U19 team, which is touring to South Africa in January to play 5 50-over games against their provincial sides, and also Namibia is going to be part of that. So our journey is going to start from there, and in fact, we have put a lot of focus and invested a lot of resources trying to do so, especially for U19 this year, because we want to obviously win the regionals and possibly beat some sides in the World Cup. So that's what you're looking for, and we have plans in place, and hopefully everything falls in place. And apart from that, we will have our CWC as usual. The first CWC leg starting in February. Our team is touring to Oman. Then after, we have our home series in May, and then another series in October. But again, it's another big year for our men's team as well, because we will be starting our preparations for the 2026 World Cup, which is going to happen in February of 2026. So, yeah, very big year, very important year, and looking forward to more success for the team. Also, take this moment to congratulate our players, our selection committee, our operations folks, and the coaching staff for putting up a great show in 2024. And wishing you all good luck, and hopefully we have a better year next year. Thank you.
Srini. Now we will have our independent director, David Hawk, walking us through the activities we are doing with various governments in improving the infrastructure and facilities for cricket.
Yes, hello. Hello, everyone. David Howard here, Independent Board Director, here to present the Government Relations Committee report. I would like to thank my fellow committee members, Shyam Chotu and Mark Strolberg, for their help and cooperation in putting this together. Our committee is fairly new, but can have a profound impact on the future of cricket, and I will share why. Partnerships with local school districts, cities, and counties can lead to wonderful partnerships and wonderful opportunities for cricket. Before we get into each of the next 3 slides, which will talk about examples of how this has played out, I would just like to say that if any of the local cricket clubs around the country, anywhere in the country, have opportunities to partner with your school districts, for example, introducing cricket to your elementary or middle school or even high school PE curriculum, if you have opportunities to partner with your cities to build new facilities, new stadiums, new pitches, new cages, if you have opportunities to partner with your county agencies or your state agencies, please contact us so that we can help you do that. As way of reference, I sat on the school board in Dublin, California, where we introduced cricket to our school's curriculum. Later, I became the mayor of Dublin. We'll talk about one of the projects that I approved and helped to fund in Dublin later, as was referenced earlier by our director, Nadia. We actually had a tournament play out on that field. So you can see the progression. It takes time, but by making partnerships with our local schools, cities, and counties, we can do a lot. Back up to the first slide, Ruth. We'll talk about the Morrisville project. The very first slide of the presentation, Ruth. Yeah, there we go. Church Street Park. Is there another slide after that? Okay, so I'll just mention it, that this project was at one point slated to be 4 Little League baseball fields. Through working with the local city and county, it was determined that there is a high demand for cricket. They determined they had enough already in the area of baseball fields, and so they developed this as a partnership with the city of Morrisville, who built this facility, and subsequently, based on additional tournaments being awarded there, we know that Major League Cricket had its last 2 seasons there. We know that T20 qualifiers in 2018 were awarded. This attracted investment and partnership with those organizations to add additional features such as lighting, additional features such as additional seating, and there are even plans and opportunities for further expansion as cricket continues to develop here in America. This is one of the leading examples and the highest level of investment and partnership between cricket and the local community, Morrisville, North Carolina. The next slide is a little bit different. The next slide is a completely private project in Braeborn, Illinois, in the Chicago Glen area. And Paresh Patel is a very successful developer and has a project where he has received approval from the local city council with the help of our endorsement, our letter of support, my reaching out to the local mayor directly, and fighting through, working through really the community's concerns and the local mayor and city council's concerns, was able to obtain approval, has just recently also received EPA approval, and I believe that is moving on. This is the final look at what Brayburn Stadium will be, a mixed-use development with some commercial activity and a wonderful multi-use stadium. We wish him very much success, but a perfect example of how USA Cricket is able to work with a private developer to bring facilities here in the U.S. And then the next slide is simply an aerial photo of the stadium I talked about in Dublin. This was a $5 million project. I shouldn't call it a stadium, it's a pitch, but if you can see up in the corner there are 10 batting cages for the state-of-the-art cricket pitch and some limited seating, but a perfect venue located right here in the Bay Area, and a good example of how $5 million of city investment was made on behalf of the residents, but in concert and in combination and in partnership with the local cricket community. I can't leave this slide without mentioning Ramesh Amani, local leader in the cricket space for youth cricket here in the Bay Area. This was at least 5 years of work by him personally, and congratulations to him and thanks to him for making this happen. Another perfect example that we can replicate and scale across the U.S. We can get people like Ramesh and others to do the same thing in their local community. That would be fantastic. So we're here to help. We have elected experience. Again, I've been elected in public office for over 20 years, and so at all levels of local government, we're here to help you. And I'll conclude by just saying, if you have any questions or any opportunities, please let me know. David Halbert or Shyam Chantu or Mark Stolberg, we three are the members of the Government Relations Committee. Binu, back to you, unless there are any questions.
Thank you, David. So we move the important agenda items for the afternoon. We would like to recognize some of our volunteers who have been supporting the operations and the events in 2024. Anyone, Jonathan, could you please?
The success of cricket, especially in the non-profit world, is solely depending on two things, mainly. Our players are most important, and the next comes the volunteers. Their hard work, their dedication has been driving USA Cricket for many years. And we want to take this opportunity today to recognize some of those contributions by a few individuals, and it's an honor for the organization to honoring them on this occasion. So I will start with
Manang Patel, the USA Cricket National Team captain.
Okay. Manang Patel, for your leadership, for your commitment, guidance to the USA team. I want to call upon. Another individual who has been driving the operations throughout the year. He joined early this year when we do not have any resources in terms of head of the World Cup. And he graciously accepted the offer in sense, volunteer offer. He said he spent part-time, but throughout the year ended up spending more than his work hours. I invite Manoj Kumar, he has been and also the media front and also building the relations. He has helped us building the relation with Cricket Bangladesh and also Cricket Sri Lanka and Cricket South Africa, and currently is also working with BCCI in building relationship and creating a partnership so we can send out men's teams in next year in preparation to the 2026 World Cup. Thank you, Manoj, for all your contributions.
Thank you all. This is for everyone.
Another gentleman, initially I know he's been helping since last 2 years.
So can you move?
For his experience, we wanted to include him in a committee.
More.
So we appointed him into development committee, but unfortunately because of the eligibility, the membership criteria, so unfortunately he had to step out of the development committee, but immediately he volunteered to help in any other way. And we were looking for a development resource, a domestic manager who can carry out all the domestic pathways while everybody else is busy in the World Cup. So he started sometime in April, May, and throughout the year he led the operations team in managing the domestic operations at the hub level, regional level, conference level, and at the national tournament level. Thank you. I invite Ghulam Syed.
Can we move on? Can we move like this? The projector screen is coming. I don't. That side. That side. No, not this side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at this.
Another great volunteer. He carries tremendous experience in running youth programs for many years. And he and his wife are very well known in the youth community, in the youth cricket community in the US. And he has voluntarily started his work just to help and carry out USA cricket programs in the last 3 years. And Ranjit Singh, working with the teams, working with the hubs, helping with preparing the guidelines, regulations, because of bringing all his experience and guiding the hubs and making sure the guidelines are being followed, and also preparing documenting the best practices and also helping the teams to register in our competitive score management system. Rajit, thanks for all your help. Please. Another individual who is a successful parent, a proud parent, who developed a child and contributed a great player to the USA men's team. His son currently plays in the men's team, from the under-19 stage, and he knows the essence of what it takes to build a player and what the struggles, the problems, the challenges. And he wants to come out and helping other parents, the organization, to take care of the youth cricket and build pathways, competitive pathways. Nagesh Mukamala, unfortunately, is not here today, but request Ghulam, could you please collect the award for Nagesh, please? Your teammate. volunteer for the past few years, helping guiding operations of youth cricket in the Bay Area. And this year, he's been included into development committee, but he could not resist himself to come out and help with the operations voluntarily. So Anup Krishna, who lives in Bay Area, is also not here, but emergency member host the senior national tournament in LA in November. So please again, one of you, please collect the vote. Another volunteer, apart from taking care of his young kid cricketing activities, he's been instrumental in creating Georgia Cricket Association to help with the USA pathways. And this year, he volunteered to carry out the national tournaments in Atlanta when we hosted U15, U19. He was the tournament director. Shirish Walabu. And one is that. Srini, I request you also join when we honor our captain. Moran Patel, again, our leader from Thank you. Moving on to Q&A. Now we'll be moving on to the Q&A session.
Sorry, I'll pick up on the microphone there. Andrew's just saying we'll now move on to the Q&A session. Audience first. It's up.
Anybody willing to ask questions for the board or the board or the organization of domestic operations committees? I see a couple of hands. Let me go to the last. Does it not work? No?
There, we have one. Just take one back there for the questions. And we'll pass it around here. Yep.
Yeah.
The question is around girls and women's cricket, right? So what is U.S. Cricket board doing to enhance the opportunity for women and girls in this sport, especially creating the dedicated pathways and competitions for girls and women?
I think we lost Nadia, so I'll pick that one up. Obviously, I think it goes without saying that the women's opportunity is hugely important for us with USA Cricket. As we talk about LA 28, our goal is to have both of our teams on the field, men's and women's. As we can see from the results from this year, as we were discussing, these amazing wins over Zimbabwe, our youth and talent that's coming through the pathways there, the fact that we have our United team out on the field, there's a lot of opportunity for us to grow that. I think we're focused on 4 or 5 core aspects, and I'll just speak back from where Nadia was on that. One is increasing the number of competitions that are available for our women. We know that we have a gap in that. We need to address to give the girls and the women more opportunities to compete on the field. In addition to that, we need more players. We need to do more outreach, specifically to the female community, to make sure that they're comfortable, that there's opportunities for them in our hubs, academies, and across the country to be playing. That will be a pillar of what we're doing as well. As we look at the national team and then further on that level, we'll continue to pursue more opportunities for them to be playing throughout the year so that we can ensure our teams are ready for those pinnacle events. And that is something we absolutely have to do. You know, they need to play more games, we recognize that, and we are prioritizing that as a strategic objective.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any other questions from the audience? I see a hand raised here.
Hello. My question is, what is USA Cricket strategy for making cricket recognized sport in schools and colleges, and how does it support the development of young talent?
It's a great question. I think there's a number of areas that when we talk about what is, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure at some point there's a lot of questions about this. I've touched on it earlier. The current efforts that happen in cricket, they happen because someone is incredibly passionate. It's fighting against the grain, swimming upstream to make things happen. A Herculean, almost heroic effort to do those things. The problem with that is when people get tired, when someone has to move on, when life changes happen, those programs can collapse because it was built off of one person. One of the things that we have to do is move into a position where we're more sustainable. Sustainability is a big key phrase for me. Sustainability really comes from how do we move outside of just our cricket environment and get ourselves incorporated into the normal American structures. How do you get into Parks and Rec? How do you get into the school system? How do you get into colleges? Because when coaches change there, coaches just change. The program keeps running. A lot of what we'll be doing, again, in those areas, and we have to recognize the limitations of the resources with USA Cricket itself, is partnership. We need to develop more partnership opportunities to work as a hub and spoke. So USA Cricket, me sitting in Denver, I can't tell you how to run things here in Johns Creek, for example, in Atlanta. You're going to know better than I am who your local stakeholders are. What we can do, and I think what David was speaking to in the Government Relations Committee, is bring you and connect you to other communities that have had that experience, other people that have successfully done that, people who are subject matter experts in working in education systems, in city governments, to give you the access you need. From our perspective, then we will become the training hub for making that happen. But I do agree, it's incredibly important. The collegiate environment is a real opportunity for us, particularly within our cricket community. Everyone is going to college, obviously. There's no reason we shouldn't have a thriving collegiate competition across the country that helps augment what we're doing, both at the grassroots level and then making the transition into the senior and adult level. We have to create that as a priority, and we have started talking about that internally. I would say that, to be fair, again, these are really hard projects. Getting into the school systems, running things every day, that's tough work, especially for volunteers, because when the kids are in school, you're working during the day. So it does take a lot of coordination. It takes a lot of partnership to find opportunities for people to be able to do that professionally, to run in-school and after-school programs, to be able to get cricket to where the kids are currently, and then find ways to bridge that gap to get kids out of the schools and into our cricket environments. That is a very big project. That will be a 4 to 8 year plan, if I'm honest, for where we are to be able to get that done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any other questions?
Thank you. So I have two questions actually. One is that we are all parents here, right? And cricket is actually growing. It's not yet at the level where we want to be, probably. What would you tell kids who are 13, 14, 15 and want to become professional cricketers? Is this a profession they can choose in the US yet or not? Because many of us are facing that conundrum. The second question I have is, what funding we are receiving from ICC and even the government here to grow this sport?
First question, a tough one. We cannot say like someone we can pick something up. First of all, why we play the sport is most important, and it's just for the passion, the fun, that drives them to play sport. And as a profession, I do not know an answer or have an answer for that. Yes, there are opportunities coming up. Obviously playing for USA Cricket and lots of franchisee leagues coming up and all that. And that, for that to happen, there's a lot a player has to do. And again, as I said, it's totally up to the players, or the, in this case, the parents, what they want their kids to do and what they want to choose, and facilitate that. And in my opinion, I would not be worried about them representing the national team or playing some leagues or not, as long as they are enjoying the sport. So I will put the focus on that, and as a parent, would facilitate anything and everything for them to achieve whatever they want to achieve while enjoying the game. Because once that selection things comes into their minds, they'll stop enjoying the sport, and that beats the purpose. So yeah.
That was a good one. I like that. Sarah, I can't help but pick up on that. I mean, it is an amazing opportunity. Kids being involved in sport, and I'll reflect back on experiences again. Vinu and I were in Dubai for the ICC conference and the Women's T20 World Cup final, and had an opportunity to meet with the U.S. Masters group. So, 40, 50, and 60-year-olds that are out there playing. And I think on the other side of the question that's being asked there, and to echo what Srini's saying, the real power of sport is not necessarily the outcomes. You can't control the outcome of being a professional team, a professional player, a national player. So many things have to go right for you to be able to do that. But the real power of cricket is what everyone in this room has experienced, that it can be a lifelong obsession. Once it gets in your blood, it doesn't leave. And the lessons that you learn in sports translate into the rest of your life. It'll make you a better person. And really that's our focus from that. Don't get me wrong, amazing opportunities. Obviously we've seen homegrown talent, our players getting opportunities around the world, but it is a tough road to do that. On the second question, in terms of the ICC and the government, there's probably 2 or 3 answers to that. One, we're working with the ICC. Obviously, we've had some well-publicized challenges over the course of the year with that. We have made progress against that and are doing well. I would say, as they would say back, there's never going to be a time that I'm not going to ask them for more resource, just like every other board is exactly what we would look to do. We're looking to build on the programs that they have established with facilities and with development outside of the T20 World Cup, so we have been working with them on that, and looking at different ways that we can expand our high performance and development fund. Overall, they are a great supporter of us. Outside of that, I would also say that we have to work with the rest of our funding partners to become more independent of that. We need additional revenue streams to do all of the things that we know we need to do in cricket. If we want to be a full member, if we want to be one of the top 4, top 5 teams on the international stage, we have to have more money to be able to do that. We have to be able to feed it back into the grassroots game. We have to, Manat will kill me if I don't say, we have to work with our players about their contract status, both men's and women's, to be fair. And we have to develop more facilities, and all of that requires funding. So it is something that we have to keep tuned to. In terms of the government, that's always a challenge. The Olympic environment here in the U.S., the U.S. Olympic Committee gets $0 from the U.S. government. And I think that's probably a misnomer around the world, because that is different in many other countries. We get 0 funding back from them. Now, what I can tell you is they're very interested in supporting us. Cricket obviously is a strong sport in a number of areas. They're key allies for the U.S. around the world. The State Department has indicated that they will work with us, and they have worked with us, to make sure that the process for getting visas, for getting our players in and out is much easier. They are interested in the fact that we can bring in international teams and use cricket as a tool for good for them, for the rest of the world, as sports diplomacy. So they're supportive in that regard, but they're not supported directly financially. The financial burden is on us. We have to go out and find revenue streams to be able to do that. At the local level, we have to tap into, as we said again, sustainable sources through the government, the schools, partnerships, private entities. I'll say here, we were really received well at the Perung Beers Fields here in Atlanta. Another great example of someone building this amazing facility off their own back. There are many people around that want to do that. We just need to, as USA Cricket, work to align those opportunities and align them into one cohesive plan.
Thank you, Srini and Jonathan. Really like the response on the first question. Great question and a great response. We have time for 2 more questions.
Yeah, so one of our umpiring coordinator wants to ask a question, so let me first.
Thank you. So first of all, Jonathan, early on you said that one of your interview questions was what is your plan to get USA Cricket a full member of the ICC by 2030? I know one of those requirements has to do with umpiring and with coaching. And so, and then later on you talked about for 2025, you want to move forward with some coaching and umpiring programs. So my question is, what are the current umpire and coaching strategies that are being pursued and in order to develop more certified coaches and umpires?
Sure, I can take some components of that and maybe pass off to Vinu as well. But I'll tell you where we want to go in the future. There's one, we have to regionalize, specifically with our umpires. There's two components of it. One component is more training courses like we talked about. So there's more opportunities for people to get certified and to join the umpiring ranks. That's step one. Step two then is actually development. So how do you take those umpires and make them better? And it's not just saying you did this right, you did this wrong. Just like the players on the field, umpires don't need to be criticized, they need to be coached about how they perform better in the future. Part of that is getting regional panels so that we can have umpires working with mentors, people that have had more success up the ladder, so that we can put umpires on a pathway just like we would players. So you go from a regional development up to national, and you have more opportunities to be moved around into the tournaments that we identify, our national tournaments and the partner tournaments, so that we're exposing our umpires into the environment that they need to be successful in, to give them a glance of that. Certainly, and I think we would aim, as well as we want to have our teams on the field internationally, the same is true for umpires. We should be developing our umpires here domestically for MLC, for NCL, for all the other major competitions, as well as the international matches that we have, so that American umpires have the opportunity to be in the middle of the field. And that is the goal. I think we have a good ways to go on that. We've had some positive conversations both with our current domestic panel as well as the international representatives from the ICC. They are committed to assisting with this, developing on that. Similarly for coaches, the ICC, the framework that they have is relatively new. This is a 3-year-old or less program for them with their level 2 and level 3. So we're working on rolling that out. One of the key components is we need more trainers to be able to run more courses, and then we need more trainers so that we can have more trainers. That'll be a key focus in 2025, is getting more of those trainers available. Then same thing, regionally looking at where are we hosting those courses, where's the demand, what time of year aligns with your league schedules to ensure that we have people up and running. It's also another component of what we need to be doing to reach out and show the, what USA Cricket is giving back into the leagues. That's a component where we can help make day-to-day cricket better by ensuring that those people are given access to educational opportunities. So there's a lot to be done. I think a lot of that comes down to volunteer coordination, as we have some central coordination and working regionally to establish these groups.
Thank you, Jonathan. We have a question from the side of the audience.
Thanks for the way everything towards USA Cricket. Does USA Cricket Board have any plans to standardize domestic cricket as similar of other countries as part of board strategy?
We do have domestic cricket. Can you be specific in terms of what you are comparing with other countries?
So like Ranji Trophy, for example.
Yeah, ideally, see, unlike other countries, the cricket is concentrated in few pockets in the USA. I know it is growing. So we thought about, we did a lot of brainstorming before creating the pathways and the current youth hubs a couple of years ago. So it's not ideal to create a similar structure compared to other countries where cricket is played throughout the geographical area, but in USA that's a challenge. And just to compare with India, India is a, in size, in geographical size, is 1/3 of USA, but the population is 1/3 of, USA population is 1/3 of India. And out of that, currently we have very few players that actively participate in the pathways and the professional cricketers. So in order to develop a robust system like that, we need to first, multiple things needs to happen. One first thing, we need to have infrastructure available, and so people can pick up the sport in their schools or in their localities. And when that happens, that will give an opportunity to schedule the games locally. So I know we have changed a little bit in the last 2 years, but most of the time our tournaments used to happen at one center, one or two locations in the US. But now it's changed, with the help of the cities and private investors coming up. We have cricket complexes available across the country now. But ideally, we want to have those turf wickets, better playing conditions available in the regional. So probably we'll develop those, we'll have those surplus in the next 4 or 5 years, and maybe that is the time maybe we can have a structured, established domestic pathways where it is, well organized, well settled, and it's automated for everybody to know. We don't have to announce a calendar every year when it's going to start, what are the initiations. But I think in maybe another few years we'll be in a stage to establish such pathways. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think we have online questions also, so I think we can go to that section.
This is a combination of pathways, coaching standards, high quality competitions. So Srini and Jonathan both you
Now that I'm on board, I get to be in the hot seat most of the time, so I appreciate that. What measures are we taking? Sorry, just read this back. You can all read it, it's fine. There's a number of different things here. So this really touches on community as well as national team, where we are. There's probably 3 or 4 components. One is exactly what Vinu was just talking about there, the expansion of the domestic tournament. So we'll work in 25 to ensure that that's exposed to more players and to increase the quality of those. So if we think that there's the overlap between high performance and the domestic as we're moving up through it, we'll be focused on that. And again, that's men's and women's age grade. With the U19s and the A teams, that's a really important pathway for us for those players to get more exposure earlier. I can tell you in any high performance environment, the more opportunities that you give young players to get into that national team, to learn what it's like to tour internationally, the sooner they're going to be able to be competitive at the national team environment. Great, on the men's side, obviously we've talked about our wonderful youth movement on the women's side today. On the men's side, Citation that came in, Kirsch as well, we've got some young players that are breaking through, and they represent an investment in youth. The more that we can do that and prepare players that will be on the field for LA 28, for the tournaments beyond that, potentially for Brisbane in 32, that will pay dividends. Additionally, it's working on getting our players on the men's and the women's side, to be clear, more opportunities to play professionally against top-level competitions. So whether that's here domestically or internationally, that is something that we need to work through. We're very fortunate in that now we have players who are getting picked up to play in franchise leagues. That's going to augment their training and what they're able to do here domestically, give them the opportunity to face really high-quality competition week in and week out, and that will only benefit USA Cricket. But that is representing a shift for us. That is a different thing. We have to adjust to it. I think outside of that, the A-team opportunities, we're looking to expand those as well so that we can give more players the opportunity to bridge that gap. So from the U19s, recapturing them at the U23, at the development level so that they're not quite in that full-on performance environment. The international game, let's all be honest, the one thing that matters is results. So sometimes you can't give as many people as much exposure as you want at the top level. We need to give them an opportunity to experience that, though, without quite the same demand on them, to not be able to learn how to play at an international level, to not be able to take chances, and to fulfill their full potential. So I'd say from the domestic, the sub-international, and the international, including the professional between that sub-international, we're looking to address that, again, both through things that we're doing in partnership. Yep, so I mean, infrastructure, I'll just touch on that. I think we've gone a little bit into it. It's a great question. You know, again, we're working, obviously we have limited resources, but how do we provide best practices for areas that are interested in growing cricket? You know, we need to place our events at the U.S. national level. Obviously, we're aiming higher and higher in terms of the quality of delivery into facilities that are capable of hosting that. And that's our domestic events and our international. You know, that's a challenge for everyone right now. We'll continue to work as a hub and a central resource to try and coordinate that, to support people that are engaged in those areas. And it is a strategic objective for us. You know, we need to be able to address that. It's probably one of the biggest limiting factors right now for cricket in the United States, is there are just not enough places to play cricket. Kalam, do you want to handle this one?
Ladies first.
Here you go, just take this one.
So I'm just going to quickly read this quick. What is U.S. cricket plan to adjust the youth league conference zone national calendar to better balance academics and cricket? This could help ensure the young players can fully focus on their studies during the school year, while also participating in the competitions without conflicts. Great question, actually. I have heard this before. So, obviously, in our youth development, you know, we are looking forward to have most of our events during the summer when the school is out. But as you know, based on the logistics availability of the grounds and all the events leading up to the nationals, sometimes we go outside of the school, summer breaks. So we're going to be paying more attention to those conflicts, and obviously we would like our children, also like focus on schools and studies. So this year when we are planning it, we will pay an extra attention. Obviously we will work with you, all the representatives from different regional structure, to make sure that the dates are chosen carefully and also try to avoid a lot of conflicts. But as I said, it's only a 3-month summer, so we may have to go a little beyond that school structure. But I think most of our events are like during weekends. They may have to add a day or two, before or after to make it fully structured events in place. I hope I answered these questions properly. You think I'm missing anything in this question? Okay.
I think we have covered that one pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, we have one more question from the audience. If we can
Sure, go for it. From the audience? Last online question. What is the strategy for collaboration and efforts made in regard to the ICC to engage 1 million kids in cricket by 2028? And what are the key achievements so far? We're fortunate enough to have a representative of the ICC here today, so I think this one I'll probably pitch to Farah Gorsi. You're very welcome.
Thank you all. Firstly, I'm Farah Gorsi from the ICC Americas team, based in Colorado Springs, and always a huge thank you to USA Cricket for inviting me. And some great questions in the audience. This one's taken us by surprise, but I will share that we have made the announcement as part of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup that we are looking at the playground to the podium strategy. This is in partnership with USA Cricket, and it will be a programme, hopefully in the upcoming years, that USA Cricket will strive forward with. And 1 million children all come from the 3 venues, the 3 cities that we've hosted the World Cup. Also with a view to LA 28, California will be included. Can't share too much details because we're in the very midst of our planning stages, but that will be something that USA Cricket will share with you as and when we launch that programme. Thank you.
Suresh, you have one more?
Hello. Hey,
No, that's right.
this is Suren Madavaram. I have one question regarding finances. I see the slide, with revenues and expenses there. It's 5+ million and 4+ million as expenses, right? So I don't see any line item where, what is the component of MLC component here, in these revenues. If you have any update on the current finances of that, as well as, we all think, from outside that, if BCCA plus IPL is there, that is good enough to run IPL, BCCA. But here, we always advertise here, saying that US has, second largest world market for eyeballs. And also, you don't need spectators for cricket, to generate the money, right? And that too with the 4 or 5 global franchise teams like Chennai Super Kings and all 4+ bigger teams, bigger franchises, which are already participating in MLC here. And I think any normal cricketer can think that, oh, okay, this is the richest cricketing country in the world. So what is the component here from MLC? Of course, MLC is another story, but MLC, what is the, I am pretty sure, they are all big businessmen, and they are not running the business for loss, definitely. That's my perception. Okay, what is the component and what is the contribution to USA Cricket with that ACE contract, and what are the modifications, or is there any ACE negotiations going on, and what is the status in that? Sorry.
Yeah. I like how at arm's distance he just held the microphone when he gave that to me. Really great questions. Without going too much into all of the contractual agreements between USA Rugby, USA Cricket, 15 years. It's hard to have it to break. I was with USA Rugby. So between USA Cricket and MLC, that relationship is good. It's tight. It has not been without its challenges, certainly over the years. I think that is natural anytime that you're working with a partnership. One of the things I think that's a key difference, you highlighted between the BCCI and the IPL. Obviously the BCCI is in a commercially mature environment where they had the ability to do the RFP, to self-fund, to have a lot more, just basically to run that process the way they wanted. That's not where we are here in the U.S. It's also not the way sports work here in the U.S. Sports are a private enterprise. People are investing their money, expecting a return. You very accurately hit it. There are billionaires and billionaires that are investing in cricket across the globe, and they certainly don't run it just to lose money. What I can tell you is, having had many conversations with MLC, with their parent companies around the world, what they do believe is the U.S. is their number 2 market very soon, in terms of where they will be driving revenue. What I can also say from having worked in other sports is, as you grow a burgeoning league, especially a sport like cricket that is going to require a lot of investment, there are a number of years of losses before you get anywhere near profitable. And a lot of that profitability comes from the underlying appreciation of the asset as you go on. What we really do benefit from here in the U.S. is we have an incredibly passionate and already large fan base. I think Willow's numbers are 4.5 million households they're going into right now, and that, for any emerging sport, is amazing. But it is challenging. There's going to have to be infrastructure developments like we talked about, and that is a component of our ongoing discussions with MLC about where they're building their stadiums. That is not an insignificant investment, as anyone will tell you, as the ICC can tell you as well. Everyone else, LA28. There's a lot of challenges around that they're working through. We do view it as, as with any league or any partner or anything that we're talking about today. As they grow, we grow. There's 2 different things. There's USA Cricket and there's cricket in America. We want to see both of those grow together. The larger growth of cricket in America will help drive a virtuous cycle of growth for USA Cricket as well. from revenue, from eyeballs, from international eyeballs, from international relationships. Our component is to deliver on that. You know, we will be the avenue for having discussions with the BCCI, with the PCB, the ECB, Australia, everywhere else. So the opportunity to bring international cricket to the U.S. flows through USA Cricket. The opportunity for franchise leagues flows through the free market economy here in the U.S., but with the coordination of USA Cricket. Cricket is a very insular landscape that requires a lot of governance and oversight, and that is our role in that. You know, but we will continue to fulfill that role in the way that we can.
So, but what is the component?
The finance component?
Yes. Is it a $0 or is it a -50? What is that?
No. It's a positive if you come through. If you look at, we'll have our 990. You can see it's on the 990 posted in the revenues there. When our 2024 comes out, it will be posted as well. But they do support us, obviously. We will never say that we're happy with the amount. It's always going to be more. Just like any business, we're always trying to drive more revenue. So that's a conversation that we're consistently having, but they do financially support us to a degree.
Thank you.
Well, I will pass to Vito here to allow him to close out the meeting, but just from my side, and again, I wanted to say thank you so much, you know, for the warm welcome that I've had into the cricket community. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed it. Just driving around or going around the last 3 months, you're all going to make me get new clothes because everybody insists on feeding me everywhere I go. So I think I put on 10 pounds of delightful food, so thank you for that as well. And my tailor also thanks you. You'll be helping keep him in business. But I'm really, really excited about where we're going in 25. My commitment to you all is, you know, the passion that you've displayed. I have the same passion for the success of the organization. Every morning that I wake up, the question is how do we do it better? That day, every minute, every year, so that we're a little bit further along towards the goals of where we want to be. And the old adage of how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, I keep reminding myself that. We're going to take one bite at a time, but by the time we get to LA 28 and beyond, it will be a fun run.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone, again taking time to join the annual general meeting. It's a great run that we had this year, and it's very exciting, like Jonathan mentioned. I want to take this moment to thank all our board members, staff, the volunteers, supporters, parents, players, whoever involved in supporting driving cricket in this country. Thank you for keeping your trust in USA Cricket and standing behind us during the difficult times and during the opportunities and going forward. Thank you very much. You all have enjoyed your holidays, and very soon the cricket, I know the domestic cricket may not start until for another few months, but we will bring you enough cricket to watch and support our teams. Starting January, our under-19 girls competing in the World Cup for the second time, and then under-19 boys touring South Africa for the first time, and then continued by our senior men continuing their CWC League 2 in Oman. So we'll bring you more cricket next year, more opportunities, and looking forward to work with you all. Happy holidays. Thank you.
అది ఆపేద్దామా
Thank you.
కొంచెం